Hello, beautiful people. Good afternoon, good evening. Again, whatever time that y'all may be watching this. This is episode 27. So again, we thank you for those that did watch and left comments. And those new subscribers, welcome to the Day and Night Podcast. We got a pretty good topic for you. It may seem like it's a topic we talked about before, but it's a little bit different. So, like I always say, your thought becomes your belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation. All right, Mark?
Hey, everybody. Like Matt just said, just going to echo the same thing. I appreciate you guys that are watching and subscribing and liking and leaving comments. Just keep doing it, and we need more. I mean, again, this is just, a good way for us to interact with each other and find out what other people are thinking and what y'all feel about, our subjects and our topics that we talk about. So just continue to do that, guys. And, like Matt has his thing, I'm doing my STS. And it's redundant, but I mean, I believe it's on every avenue. Again, I do it mainly for my clients and personal training, but I feel like anything you do in life, you got an STS. Stay focused, trust your process, and most of all, last but not least, is stay consistent. Without that, you can't do one of the two or one of the three. Without consistency, it's not going to work in anything we do, guys. So on that note, I'm ready to get into this. This is going to be kind of out of my comfort zone, but that's one thing I love to do, is challenge myself and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's something I always preach too. I shouldn't say preach. That's something I always say. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, because we tend to just stay in our lane where we're comfortable and it's easy, it's recognizable, but when something's not our norm, we tend to shy away. So I'm challenging myself today, and I'm going to, get into it with Matt and his subject. So I'm ready to go.
All right. So no further ado. The topic today is technology causing us to walk in fear? And the reason why I say that is I look at, I won't say social media, but I look at a lot of podcasts, and I peruse through TikTok sometimes, and Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. So I've just noticed here recently, I know we're in a paradigm shift, meaning that the times, as far as if you're into zodiac signs and stuff like that, like right now we're entering into the year of the Aquarius, the age of Aquarius. So if anyone didn't know, the age of Aquarius is all about truth, and it's all about revealing things that was basically you was lied to about. So like right now, there's a whole bunch of people that seem to be awakening to the truth. Things that we were lied to about before, whether that's the food industry or health, even religion and stuff like that, and science. So it's a lot of stuff that's coming to the forefront that, in my opinion, a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon. Now, I don't want to come across or make it seem as though that I'm judging people. That's the worst thing anybody can do, is judge, because that stuff comes back to you. So I just look at more as of an observation. And where the topic came from is there's a lot of people, more so on TikTok, it seems like everybody and their grandma is either talking about they seeing aliens, they're talking about food that's not good for you. They talk about all these conspiracy theories as far as what the government is doing, how they experimenting. The new thing is cloning. Like a lot of people are saying that Jamie Foxx is cloned. A lot of the entertainers, more so hip hop artists, are cloned, and so forth. Now, to a degree, I believe it. Like there was something that someone posted today, and they're saying by the year 2028, I believe, that they had a technology to where they can replicate a baby. So if they have that technology to replicate a baby, then it's no way you can tell me they don't have technology to clone people. And the funny thing about it is that Jamie Foxx, this movie has not come out yet on Netflix, and I'm kind of curious why. And it's called They Cloned Tyrone. Jamie Foxx is in it. The guy that played in Star Wars, the black dude, is in it. and it's a black female I've never seen before. She's in it. But the whole gist of the movie is they cloned them, and they're using the clones to take over the world. It's supposed to be like zombies or something like that. But the point I'm trying to get to is, like, now we're in the age of life imitates art, whereas before art imitated life. So now a lot of stuff we see in the movies or whatever is actually coming to the forefront in actual real life. So now getting back to the fear thing, not to stare off. And my whole thing is, like I said, I believe a lot of this stuff, some of it can be true, but then I just sit back and think, I said, if some of this stuff is true and they're saying the government have all these evil intentions and stuff like that. So my thing is, do you really believe they're going to allow people to go on social media, write books and do all this stuff and put out the truth and just sit back and just allow that to happen? Now, because what I follow, I know that they can't prevent it, because when energy takes over, it's going to take over. When it has to do what it has to do. But still at the same time, my thing is they can still regulate it to a certain point to where they can say, okay, we can allow certain information to get out. So what I'm saying is I believe that some of it could be true. So they'll let certain truths get out, but not the entire truth. And I just think a lot of people are taking this stuff and running with it. And a lot of them don't have the education behind it. If you watch closely, a lot of people are copycat. One person will post a video about a certain topic, then you see somebody else and they'll add to it and put a little personality into it. But they're basically saying the same thing. And you can tell that they haven't done any research behind it. They basically just repeating what somebody else said. And it just seems like everybody is so focused on likes and views, and they're trying to get paid by doing, these podcasts, they're doing these little skits on TikTok and Instagram. And I just think it's putting the people that's not focused on that, it's putting them in fear. And like everybody's operating out of fear. It just seems like everybody's like, oh my God, what can we do? The world's coming to an end. They having wars in Ukraine. Then there was rumors that China was coming here. It's just so much stuff out there that if somebody's not sound mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and everything, it can really be detrimental to them. And to me, we're operating in fear because that's the only thing that's being put out. It seems like it's not nobody, there's some people that's are. There's the majority of the people or the information that's being put out, in my opinion, is instilling fear. Everything that you hear about or see is always what's bad about it, or what's worse, or what's coming that's bad. It's very rarely you see anything that's talking about positivity and stuff like that. So that's why when I do my post, I always try to post stuff about, uplifting, something that's positive and not instilling fear, because that's the last thing we need is fear, because fear is one of the lowest vibrations. And in my opinion, that's why they allow this stuff to be said, because they know fear is a low vibration. So people can run around and act like they putting out good information and they're warning people, but what you're really doing is instilling fear and you're lowering their vibration. So I think that's why they don't really care, is because they like sitting back, let them go ahead and put all that out. And all actuality, what they're doing is instilling fear in people, because they're looking around, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. That's fear, and we're supposed to move in the moment. So if you move in the moment, you're not worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. You're not worried about what happened yesterday. You're just experiencing the moment for what it is, and you're free. That's the true free spirit. But if you're constantly worried about, well, damn, I can't eat this, they putting stuff in the water, we got aliens coming. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much stuff around that's putting people in fear that is keeping them in that low vibration. So that's the whole gist of it. My question is technology, making people walk in fear?
Well, I mean, I'm guilty. I'm one of those guys, and I never post stuff, or repost. And I've been doing that more. Of my stuff is more on the physical. On the personal trainer level. Mm-hmm. So I was going to say the same thing. So I'm pretty much going to echo the same thing you just said about fear. That's what it is. Like you were saying, why would the government allow it? And that's the thing I was looking at when I was reading or looking at these posts when they have all these so-called doctors and motivators on there. I'm like, okay, they speak with knowledge, but then they get on there and talk about the government, and then back in my mind is like, why would you allow that, knowing that you're putting them under the bus? So that was kind of reluctant to repost it because I'm like, this stuff probably fixed, or they know that people ain't going to believe it. That's my other side of it. Fear is one, that's number one, but I'm also going to say the average person probably wouldn't buy into it. They're not going to believe it because it sounds too far-fetched. Like, nobody's going to believe that. This is BS. So they just look at it for more entertainment, or just somebody posting something and they just one there, right out the other in a sense. Because I posted the other day more or less about the health because I'm a personal trainer.
Right.
So the reason why I felt that some of the stuff they were saying, I wouldn't say was more fear, is more enlightening people, because processed food is a fact. It's a lot of fast food that's GMO. It's a lot of food that's they clone chickens. Because I used to work for HEB. Anybody that know HEB knows that they do everything their own. They have their own factory where they make their own product, which is called HEB Creamy Creation. So when I was a manager over there, we did a competitive walk, and they showed us how Walmart and Costco's and all that do GMO more than any other supermarkets that's out there. Because they used to be, think about it, years ago, they used to be a clothing primarily store. They never did food. Now they converted because they knew they make best of both worlds, selling everything else on top of that food. So long story short, the whole point I'm bringing this up is when I heard those podcasts or the little motivational speeches when I was in school for the nutrition, that does come in line, and it does back it up. It is accurate about the processed food. So some of the stuff I was posting, I know it's going to scare people because they feel like, damn, what can I eat? Everything seems to be bad. Even the good stuff is bad. What's the point of trying to eat healthy? So that's why I just put it out there just to more educate people. And I should have said it, but I never said it, is I always say research on your own. Like me personally, and you do it more than anybody I know, man. If somebody tell you something, you're going to go and look into it before you just take it for face value. So I would be the type person who would tell people, don't get caught up in the internet or everything you see on there, because some of it is more to scare you. And two, is just, like you said, it's views, it's likes. They know that people are going to look at it, and that's how they get their money, because of the ratings. The more people you get following you, the more money you get, because YouTube is like that. Is the more people that follow you, you start getting paid for doing YouTube. So to me, some of that stuff, yeah, I feel like it is fear. I do feel like a lot of people is in panic mode right now. So some people overreact instead of just sitting back and saying, wow, okay, that's good to know, and take it for what it's worth. Technology, to me, where I'm kind of worried about technology, and I was just telling you a minute ago, and this is a little bit off the subject, but it's still on it, is what happens when it breaks down. Because my phone was acting up, and I'm like, damn it, I can't get my app to work, my phone wasn't working, I wasn't be able to text nobody. So what do people do with technology for a glitch? 10, 20 minutes. And I think, well, my point is, we get so self-reliant on technology to where we're losing how to survive the normal way without technology. So that's my biggest fear with technology, is it's going to be a day where it acts up or it's going to mess up. What are people going to do, especially the new generation that was born into this culture of technology? I feel bad for them. They won't know how to fall back and do stuff the regular way, where it's normal way of surviving. Because for me, you got to have survival skills without technology. That's why when you go to the woods and all that, to me, I admire that, because that's the way of surviving. You have no technology out there. You gotta go old school and learn how to interact and do stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong. Without all that technology, so that would be my biggest problem with it. And we talked about this on the last episode. It has its pluses and it has its negatives. Now, I don't want to be the person that sounds negative, but I always want to keep it even. And you got to have that just in case kind of mentality, because it happened at work the other day. All the technology broke down. The robots weren't working. The computer went down. And everything we do there is computer ran. It's ridiculous how everything is just on a keyboard. They didn't know what to do. They literally sit at home because they didn't know how to do anything. Old throwback and work with your hands. They was like, okay, we got to shut down production. Y'all done for the day. Go home. Hopefully we get everything up and running tomorrow. So that's what I'm worried about. Is when that happens, nobody don't know what to do. Nobody has the knowledge because everybody's in this era. They so caught up or got lazy. They forgot how to fall back and resort to common skills, natural skills. So that's the thing that I sit back and be like, damn, what happens when this technology acts up or malfunction just for an hour or 2 hours, So that's kind of where I think it really get chaotic. A lot of people don't know how to react or act without the technology. We, myself included, are so used to having it now to where we handicapped is how I look at it. We enabled by the technology, and it's taken away from natural interaction, doing things the old school way. So I keep getting told by everybody, you need to get with it. This is 2023. You gotta stop acting like that. And like I was saying, I'm slowly transitioning because you need to be able to have both. I mean, I get it. You gotta be able to know technology in this day and era. You can't function without it. But I'm just that guy that what happens when it messes up? What is everybody gonna do? So, I know that was a lot to say, but
no, that was good. But to try to keep it in context, I think what I was more so focusing in on without repeating the other episode on social media is that aspect of it. Because all the other stuff, as far as like with cars and the banks and stuff like that, I believe is good. It makes things a lot faster and quicker. So that's not more or less what I'm referring to. It was more so about the social media aspect of technology. And I just wanted to touch on something you was talking about, the food. And that's 100% true. A lot of the food and stuff processed and the GMO. And this is where it gets interesting for me. Being that I believe and follow in metaphysics, metaphysics believes everything is energy, everything vibrates, it has its own frequency. So there's some people out there, and I believe this too, to a degree, if everything is energy, like food is energy. So even as crazy as this may sound, even if that food is GMO and you have it in front of you, everything is energy and the mind controls everything. So as creator guys, you can transmute that energy into positive energy. You can manipulate it because the belief that what you're eating is real and it has sustenance and is good for you, then it will be good for you because you're basically transmuting that energy into something that's good. So that's where I say there's a lot of people out there that's repeating what people are saying, and they really don't have the truth or know the truth or the knowledge, however you want to spin it. And it's causing people to fear, because if you're the type of person that truly believe that, then you will eat anything you want and do whatever you want, because I have the ability to change that energy into the energy that I want and what I need. So that's like on another level. For somebody that's on that level, that conscious level, but most people aren't. So to them, it might sound crazy. But in a sense, if all this stuff is real, if metaphysics is real and it's true, everything is energy, everything vibrates, then you shouldn't be fearful, because you know you have the ability to transmute the energy in something that's positive. So that's why I believe that the technology, more so with social media, is causing people to fear. And most people say fear is what? False evidence appearing real. So again, that goes back to what I was saying. If you believe that whatever you're eating is real, then that kind of negates anything that's negative that you're putting into your body. So it's kind of tricky. And I was talking to Kim about this. I said, you know what? Out of all these people that talks about metaphysics and the spiritual people, I was like, I wonder if they're 100% real, because one, the stuff that they're talking about, if you truly believe that, then you should not be walking in fear. Period. Like one guy, Billy Carson, I follow a lot. He talks about he don't so much say it now, but when he first came out, he was saying how everything is an illusion. You live in the matrix, nothing is real. So that it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. And the reason why I say that is because then why would people focus on money the way they do? I'm like, you a millionaire, so why do you go to these shows? Why do you charge people money? Again, I know why he do it, but I'm just saying, like, if you truly believe that, then it's not necessarily always have to put stuff out there where somebody has to pay for it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm a true believer in the power of manifestation. And it happened just the other day. And I was doing my manifestations and stuff, and I got some money. It wasn't a large amount, but it was money that I wasn't expecting. So I know that that's real and it's true. So in a sense, I don't worry about it. And the only reason I do is because I put myself in a situation to where I have to think about it, if that makes sense. So that's by making bad decisions and, not being disciplined the way I should be. So it kind of put me in a position to where I have to think about it because the decisions that I made before. But once I get to that point when I'm balanced, it's never at a point to where I'm pushing, and my whole main goal is pushing for money, because I know that I have the ability to manifest whatever I want. And that's like when you get to that higher realm and help that higher consciousness or the fifth dimension, it's not about material stuff. Whatever you want, you manifest. So you don't have to, necessarily focus on money. And that's like another topic for another day. But that's what I'm saying. Like this, more so here in this country, it just seemed like fear pushes everybody. And it's like nobody is truly living who they truly want to be and what they can be, because everything is based off of what is being told they shouldn't be doing and what that could affect them. So they move based off of that. Like if you really sit back and think about it, how many people move the way they want to move, not based off of what somebody else is putting out?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm with you on that. And it's funny because I was sitting here thinking when you were telling me that, or telling us, excuse me. But I posted that, and it was a guy, and that's why I posted it too. I know what you said earlier. The guy was speaking on China, and he was saying how different it is in America and how it is in China on TikTok and Facebook, on what they allow to be posted. And you said it earlier when you said when you post stuff, you try to be more positive and not negative and putting fear in people. Well, that's what the guy was saying. What China does is they don't allow. He said you could get on TikTok in China and you see they're doing TikTok about uplifting each other, about going to school, getting educated. They do different things more or less positive. They said you go to American TikTok and it's all women on their booty shaking, everybody's dancing, everybody's trying to outdo each other or be glamorous. And some of the stuff is fear. All the people shooting, when they show these TikToks where people killing each other, so it's more negativity. So that aspect, what I'm trying to say, what I'm correlating to is that fear, I believe, is manipulated by the government to what, like you said earlier about why would they allow that? I think you hit the nail on the head. is to create fear, keep everybody in that low vibration, like you said. Because if everybody did start to become more positive and more or less working the right way, it'd be a lot of money lost in America. A lot of people don't want to hear this and say, why would the government do that? And this is where I post a lot, and this is kind of off subject, a little bit. But that's why I post all those videos about saying stuff about the government on how they want us to stay unhealthy, is because there's so much money made in the health industry. So if everybody walked around eating right, eating clean, take care of themselves, there'd be so much money lost. So I think all the negativity it's a full circle. It's a carousel going round and around. All that stuff plays a hand in each other. So I think that's why they continue to allow that on social media, because they know if it's all positive, nobody ain't doing nothing bad, everybody be good, everybody focus on bettering themselves, and then there'd be a lot of money lost, because there'd be so many jobs that would be lost because everybody's doing everything the right way, if that makes any sense. So it's sad to say that. Now, I'm not justifying it. All I'm saying is I think that's part of the reason why it is so much. And I think they do want more fear to be out there than positivity, which, it sucks. But you hit the nail on the head when you said it. Everything that's put out here, again, at the end of the day, it depends on you as an individual. You got to know what to believe, what not to believe. Like you said, you can't sit there, take everything, and be scared to do anything. So I think at the end of the day, it's a mental thing on where you at in life, or what you feel and what you know is true or what's not true. And it was also another one that they posted, or I posted, where you spoke about manifestation, but he was talking about vibration. This is the one I was talking about. The guy was saying how you can self-heal yourself. And he was saying if you know how you can get rid of a lot of things that's wrong with your body, but you got to know how to manifest it. One, and he said it's all about vibration as well. So it was a good link. I don't know if anybody follow me on Facebook, Instagram. The guy was saying basically the same thing you just said earlier about how you can heal you ain't said, but he said about healing yourself. If you used to get sick, if you know, like you was talking about eating food, if you know, you can do it, manifest it to where it's good and it's not bad. Same thing he was saying, even if you eat something bad and you get sick, you can heal yourself. And there's a word he used, I can't remember the word, but he used a word that was saying that's in your body. And I remember that when I was in school, where cortisol was one of them. That's why a lot of people gain weight, is because of that. You activate it, you can do that and activate to where you heal yourself, but you literally got to be in belief, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
It was deep, though. It was deep. I liked it. Yeah. So I do believe some of that stuff is positive that they put out there. It may sound negative to other people, but some of it is positive.
Okay. I guess what I'm looking at, because I even fall victim to some of it.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking at more so speaking on things that you can do or what's available, opposed to what's out there, if that makes sense. Like, why not come on and say, well, like I'm doing an ebook on sound therapy. So that focuses on energies and the chakras and the meridians and all that. So you could easily come on, or somebody can easily come on and say, well, with all the stuff that's going on, let's focus on something positive that's going to help heal you, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, everything. So look into, sound therapy. If everybody did that, then in my opinion, the focus would be on that, opposed to what's out there that's there to harm you. I don't know if that makes sense, but at least for me, it just seemed like too much of the focus is on that. And like the other day I was looking at TV, and it's like everything you look at is violence. Everything. And that's why it blows my mind when someone gets more so the head of school shootings or mass shootings, and then people up in arms, and I can't believe this, things are getting bad. And I'm like, well, look what the energy that's being put out. Any and everything we do is violence. Everything is focused around violence. I was even looking at the darn Discovery Channel, and it was animals killing each other. I'm like, damn, we can't escape it.
Right.
I said, that's crazy. Like everything. You know, there's a couple in here that talks about life, and that's what I'm saying. Like, why aren't things the other way?
Right.
If you're going to do it, just have it balanced. Like, you can show something about life being created, you know, the animals nurturing their babies and stuff like that. But they know our mindset is death and destruction. So even with nature, they still show destruction, like the major events, hurricanes, tornadoes, earth slides. I mean, not earth slide. What is it called? Landslide.
Oh yeah.
So everything is around destruction. So to me, if that's all we're taking in and receiving, then that's how we're going to act, like as within is without. So if all you're doing is consuming negativity, it contaminates you within. And if you don't know how to change within, then all that stuff within is going to project without. So everybody walking around with that mindset and that energy. So guess what's going to happen? In my opinion, that's what happens. I think that's why a lot of this stuff, more so here in the U.S., we deal with the things we do, because everything is focused on violence and negativity. So I think we can go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you said it earlier. That's how we train a program to be. Now, again, most people are like, well, why would they want negativity? Why would they want violence? You know, that's the $1 million question. But you hit the nail on the head. It's just a subliminal where it's causing people to react. But that's why I want to do a podcast on mental health. Because I really think we at a point where the way life is, everybody's frustrated, they tired, they look at all these movies and stuff, like you said, it's violence. So it's all day you consuming that, you're going to start becoming a product of what you're around. And it's funny because this is about 2-3 months ago when I was watching it's a TV show called Power. Okay, everybody used to watch it. Now it's called Ghost. It's like a continuation. And it was a marathon. Well, I did a marathon that night because I hadn't seen the whole season. So I watched it literally from 10 at night to like 6 in the morning on a Friday night going to a Saturday.
Wow.
And I remember Felicia saying, oh my God, why do you watch all that violence? There's nothing but violence. The whole movie, every TV episode was violence. Why would you do that to yourself? And I started laughing. And I said, it's not like I'm going to go out and shoot somebody because I see it. I said, I have the ability to understand this is entertainment. So why you like seeing people get killed? I said, well, it's not about that. It's about giving you the reality of this drug dealer. So it's showing you how they hustle and how one guy wanted to be evolved into a businessman, but he's still selling drugs, but he's doing it more on a white collar way. So, I mean, it had a little plot to it. It wasn't just all shooting, killing. It had a little plot to it, if it makes sense. And she was just like, well, that's still too much violence. So the point I'm trying to make is, after a while, it is too much, but I still believe that individual can be able to separate and know reality from reality. So what I'm saying is, even though it was a lot of violence I was watching, I took it as entertainment. It's something that amused me for the moment, for the hour, whatever it was. But after that, I turn it off and I'm done with it. Because when I go out, somebody pissed me off, I'm not ready to go beat them up or shoot them after watching 8 hours of all that violence. So I think it has to be individually. That's why I'm leaning towards mental things. But I'm saying, if you're mentally unstable already, then that's the problem. And I think a lot of people are at this point. Now, I ain't no doctor, so what I'm saying is I know I'm probably going to get pushback. But that's why I want to have the episode where we talk about that. And I have a friend that has a doctor degree in that. So she'll be, able to speak on it on a professional level. Newton Natar, the one I had on there before, she has a degree in that. So
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what she does. She does a lot of things. She got like 8 different things, but that's one of them. But I think that plays a big part. Now I'm gonna give you one story, and I'm gonna give it back to you. You're gonna laugh because guess where it was at?
At work.
It was at work. Okay, so I'm
everything goes down at work.
Huh?
Everything goes down at work for you.
I'm telling you, dude, I could write a book about just being at Futaba. I mean, the stuff that happens there is ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm gonna try to paint a picture for everybody. So I work in production, we welders, right? So each individual had what they call cells, which is maybe the size of a closet. We walk in there, the robot is what welds the parts together. So as this one guy, this guy is tired every day. I'm like, dude, what do you do? He's like 22, and he's always tired. So I'm like, dude, I work and go train, and I'm still not tired as you. But then you go to bed before I do. So what's going on? So I'm gonna stand up and show y'all this. So the guy is standing inside, like I said, it's called a cell. The big robot sitting here. The guy's literally standing here like this, back and forth, rocking back and forth. So my other partner and co-worker said, "Hey, Mark, look at him." I was like, "What? He's falling asleep." I said, "Are you serious?" I walked and he's literally like this, falling asleep. But I said, "Alex, dude, you need to go sit down, go take 30 minutes because clearly you're tired. You're gonna fall asleep, you're gonna fall and hurt yourself because these jigs is metal. So you fall on one of them with a robot, you done. Because you know how when you nod off, you stumble and wake up because you disoriented?" And he did that. I said, "If you don't do it, you're gonna fall and hurt yourself." He said, "I don't care about myself. I don't care what happens to me. Whatever happened to me is gonna happen. I don't care." I'm like, first of all, you got other people working with you. So you need to care because you part of the team and we responsible for each other. So you need to take your butt in there and tell them to let you lay down for 30 minutes or something. So the whole point of that whole little story is the key is he's like, "I don't care what happens to me. I don't care what goes on with me. If it happens, it happens." I'm sitting there like, why the heck would you say? I said, "That's something totally different, dude." I said, "I can't go on that route right now, but you need to go lay down." So to me, that's what I'm saying is a mental thing. All this comes together with the fear of technology. If you're watching all this violence that's going on, I do agree it is way too much. It's overkill. But I think part of that is kind of cause and effect. Some of these people are so mentally drained from everyday life. It's just some people just on the edge. And they just, that little one thing switch flips and then they just, they in fear or whatever. Like that guy at work, I don't know what's going on with him. I know this is kind of off the subject, but the point is about the mental part of it. Is how he said he ain't care what happens to himself. Like, if I die, I die. I was just like, see, that's not good. I don't want to be around people like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's dangerous to be around people that's reckless with their own life. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with that. I just feel like it's a mental thing. That's a subject for the next time. Because I really think that has a lot to do with everything, in a sense. And
you know what? But that's what's interesting because you kind of answered the question for me, or brought that point back to me.
Right.
It's kind of like in tune with what I was saying as far as with fear, with the mental part.
Right.
So this is how I look at it. It's like if we didn't have technology the way we have it, and if you live in a neighborhood where there's, violence or it's low income, then of course you're going to more or less act in, like you said, you're subject to your environment. But this is the question I always, for myself, I ask. Okay, so if there was never any TV or any social media, and you have somebody, let's say, just moved here, and you're in a neighborhood, just considered, middle class, there's no violence or anything like that, and they reproduced. Well, that people that reproduce, or that community that spreads out eventually throughout the state, country, whatever, will they be violent or non-violent? Will they be suffer from depression, or mental illness, or what have you? Mm-hmm. So that's how I look at it. That's why I think everything stems from what is being put out. Mm-hmm. Because again, if you're in that environment and none of that stuff is happening, if you're not being exposed to it visually, then in your mind it don't exist.
Right.
Now, some people will argue with the fact for human nature, if someone tried to steal something, and of course you're going to protect yourself or whatever the case is, or protect your property. But if everybody had, then there would be no reason to protect yourself. So that's my belief. That's how I view it. I just view it as everything is about control, and where everyone is being manipulated and controlled to act a certain way. So, like you said, it comes down to the individual, like the mental health and all that stuff. We can get into it. I kind of want to steer away from it, like I said, because it's more objective than subjective.
Right.
Because there's a lot of science and stuff that goes behind mental health and stuff. So I don't want to speak on it and give my opinion, and someone gets offended. But just from what I do know of it, from my studies and stuff, and just again dealing with energy and stuff like that, it's really based off of a lot of stuff that we consume. So we all have the responsibility and not focus on anyone else, the government or what have you. We all control that within ourselves. Regardless of what's going on, we still control it. You are the controller of your universe. So the trick to me is not getting tricked to believe that what's going on is affecting me and my universe. Because the most average person, like, well, when I wake up and I walk outside and I see somebody stealing a car or driving down the street fast, how is that me making it up? How is it actually not happening? Because that's something I always question when I heard that ideology, as far as you create your own universe, you manifest whatever it is that you see. I'm like, so how is it that you manifest or you create car accidents if you're driving to work and you see a car accident? So that's the tricky part. I still believe, like, if you wake up and you have in your mind today's going to be a great day, and you're playing out in your head, envisioning how the day is going to go, I do believe it can go that way. But again, if you're looking at stuff and you're taking in all this negativity, all that stuff is going inside of you. So not necessarily you want to act out in a negative way, but the way you perceive the world is going to project off of what you put inside, if that makes sense. So, for example, like the other day I was watching a movie, and it was a war movie, and I went to sleep, and in my dreams, when I did my astral travel, I was in war. I was actually living out what I saw. And I was like fearful, and when I woke up, I was like, why the hell am I scared? That's a damn dream. That didn't really happen. So the point I'm trying to make is all that stuff we consuming, and don't necessarily have to come out in a negative way, like you hurt somebody. It's more so how you see the world. So if you believe all that stuff, you're taking it in. Well, that's the way the world is. That's reality. That's everybody's famous thing. Well, that's just reality. No, it's not reality. That's the reality they're showing you. And that's where the whole concept of the Matrix comes in.
Right.
So the trick is being able to envision what you want and how you see the world and truly believe it. That's the trick. You have to truly believe it in order for that to actually happen. Because if you don't, you could tell yourself, yeah, I believe it. But subconsciously is like, man, it's reality. I know what the hell is going on. Then it's not going to happen. So that's the trick for me. That when you said that, that just made me think of it as far as with the whole mental part. Because to me, that's still fear that controls the mental illness and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of it, is that. And again, I'm speaking on my own personal feeling. I ain't stating nothing to say this is how it is for everybody. It's just, we all deal with stuff. I deal with stuff, and I handle it the best I can. But this is what the guy was also saying. There was another guy I posted. That's why I posted all these.
You posted a lot on there, so.
Yeah, there was like 20 of them. One night I was just going on a little rampage. But it was one because I was telling my client about working out, and she always be like, why do you think working out just solves everything? And the guy was saying that if you work out, it's something I need to research again. And it was saying how it heals, it takes away depression. And my gym is my outlet. Like I tell everybody has their own thing. Some people smoke, some people drink, some people go to movies. Everybody do what you do to function to get rid of your stress. I said, mine is literally the gym. Like, if I'm not in a good mood, I go to the gym. It's not even about just literally in there working out. It's about the mental state of it. I leave all my issues at the door. When I'm in there, I'm in another world. It's just like, I literally just get all my problems. And I focus on whatever I'm doing, and it decompress. I decompress. I'm much calmer, relaxed. You know, I don't even worry about what's going on outside. You know, it's kind of like in a whole new world. And I was telling my client that, and she was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. You working out and you hurting, so now you're sore. So she's just going on a whole new rampage on it. But I'm like, look, to me, that's a mental thing that helps fix me. So I think that's what some people need to do, is get on something that's going to be an outlet, not negative, you know, something that's going to be helpful. And I believe that would change a lot. And you're right. Again, I hate to keep agreeing with you like this, but not hate, but I don't want to be sound like your echo. But it is what we see is cause and effect. You know, like you said, the good example when you said you watched that movie, then you dreamt it. And I think that's the problem. We see it all day, and you're right. A lot of people judge each other off of what they see, and they've never been around anywhere else. You live on a good side of town. You all you do is watch these movies that's portraying that way. That's the way you're going to see it, and then you go somewhere else. First thing you're going to resort back to what you saw on the TV. And like you said, that's not reality. That's just what you want the reality to be, because that's the only way you can imagine it, because that's what you saw previously. So, in a nutshell, to sum it all up, technology is making people fearful. I really believe that. Is it going to change? I don't know. I don't think it will, because it's so much more advanced technology. So it's going to be even worse, in my opinion, before it gets better. I ain't saying it's going to be like this forever, but I just think it's so much more that's coming out that's going to give people even more fear, because it's going to be so much advanced, like these robots. It's funny how you mentioned that in the last subject about the artificial robots or intelligence.
Yeah.
I saw a segment on that, and it was on the news where they having robots in schools. I didn't even know that. Where they got them in the schools now. They have the actual, not a laptop, but it looked like a laptop. But it told me what you did. It said everything you were telling me about, like going to get the personal training, and it was crazy. And they had a segment on the news literally the day after we talked about that. So the technology is just going to me, again, it's going to handicap everybody, because it's literally going to make us to the point where we don't have to do anything. We're going to be the other way around. Like I said, we're going to be the robots. The robots going to be kind of like the human, because we're going to resort to them to survive for everything. And that's scary. That's my fear, is how we as people, not all of us, it's going to be some that's not, but it's going to be a lot of people that's so reluctant to give in to it and let it take over that they're not even going to be able to function without the technology. So that's my fear of it, is what it's going to do to people more than it already has, you know? So I guess that's why I don't get into it in my own little bad way, because I'm like, I ain't gonna let that happen to me. But again, you gotta have it. It's sad, but everything is computer. I go to car wash, you can't put money in there no more.
Yeah.
Everything is with the chip or the tap.
Yeah.
With your, you know what I mean? So it's like, damn it, you know? So it's just like, wow. Nothing normal like it used to be is slowly fading away. Like literally, everything is technology. Like it's gonna be like the Jetsons.
Oh yeah,
that cartoon. You know what I mean? So, but it's good though. Like you said though earlier, it's a lot of benefits to us. I don't want to sit here and sound all negative. You know, it's what you make it or work. You know, what works for you is how I look at it. If you want it to be negative, it'll be negative. So. No, I'm serious though. I mean, I think it's some positive. It's mostly positive. So I can't sound too like against it, because I know that's what it's coming across like. I'm just that old-fashioned dude that's trying to come across and get with the program. So.
No, I hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
Um, so in my belief, and like I said earlier when I first opened up, is technology in itself is probably not fearful, but we can control the fear based off of how we use it.
Mhm.
So with the technology, more so with the social media, what we put on and what we put out, in my opinion, will determine as far as how technology will affect us. Because if the only thing that's being put out is fear, then of course that's what's going to be received, and that energy is what's going to take over. So
Right.
I believe if we focus more on the positive things and putting out stuff, that's going to be more beneficial, that energy is what's going to take over. And
Mhm.
no matter how much technology comes out, it's not going to be able to dominate that force of the positivity that's in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, beautiful people, we hope you enjoyed this episode. And remember this: your thoughts becomes your belief, not my belief, not his belief, but your belief, and then your belief becomes your manifestation. On that note, enjoy, and we see y'all next Wednesday. Peace.
All right, we out.
In a world of envy, analyze as these guys looks to see. They clones to the naked eye, the dynamic dude, no pesticides, they organic, day and nights the podcast. In panoramic in 4K, live streaming on your airwaves, no cliche to downplay, this ain't no child's play. Twin brothers close knit, but ain't a gang, personalities differ, like a yin and a yang, not alike, with certain views, philosophies and principles, inspiring nature's knowledge. Metaphysical, the sun, moons, and stars, mass attraction, affinity, the Big Bang Theory, the energy, infinity. Next we got Marcus, the opposite, laid back, chillin', kick back, laxed in a Cadillac, casinos and blackjack, blues and a side chick, slick, sly, mischievous, surreptitious, no love lost between, they always bonding, they wonders of the world, they monsters, the twin Tompkins, brought on only born, they travel the world stomping at the break of dawn daily. The iron's pumping, I bring you no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody, cause it's day and night.